All right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and I'm running a bit late today, but this is your weekend's deep dive TA analysis as always. I think that what we can say for sure is it's been a wild week, right? We've had CPI, we've had PPI, we've had the rate pause, and most importantly, it's about now looking forward over the next few months and trying to figure out if we're still on pace for our base case, for our hypothesis to continue to play out as expected. You can see for January, we are currently expecting to remain paused. Okay, so happy days there. And then out to March, we are pricing in around a 70% chance currently, 70% probability that we will see rate cuts. Taking a look at the credit spreads, at the hard right edge, you can see not yet speaking to a credit event, but at some point this is probably going to break out and go, and then we're going to be looking down the barrel of financially stressed conditions. Hasn't happened yet, doesn't speak to when, just speaks to a balance of probabilities that are telling us at some point in the not too distant future, we will probably get a spike in the credit spreads, which is usually conducive to at least short-term volatility in the stock market. Of course, we had further big news this week because it's funny that the very people that are insider trading the stock market at the moment are also the ones that get to decide whether or not they can continue to insider trade. So, of course, this pertains to the US Congress introducing a bill to ban stock trading. And of course, why this was so important is because this has also been a base case, right? It's been here written on this melt up chart, which has been the thing I've been harping on about for the entire year, ever since the lows. In fact, ever since the lows back in summer, we've been harping on about this. And now we're finally in that neighborhood to see the all-time highs. Are we going to get the cuts? So far, kind of looking like we are, at least they're majority priced in to see those in March. And like I said, if this bill continues to build steam, then we may well see Congress be banned from owning stocks at the top, just like back here. So overall, we're still expecting to see the stock market do very nice things into the end of the year and possibly into Q1 of next year. And then if indeed we do play out like this, it's going to be time to consider, are we going to get a deflationary bust? For that to happen, we need to continue to see inflation come down, of course. And of course, all of this is to be determined. But in the more short term, okay, difficult to predict long term, difficult to predict medium term. But in the short term, we can usually get a pretty good grip on things. And in the short term, we've had a great start to the most bullish month of the year for the S&P 500. We're over 3% by the 10th trading day of the month. So the rest of the month has been higher all 5 times that this has happened, all the way back to 1950. And we're usually up another 1.7% on average. So in other words, don't give up on the potential for more green into the end of this year. So that's the stock market. We'll get to the charts in a minute as always. Just before we do, I want to touch on a couple of things for crypto and Bitcoin, because something I see a lot, which is kind of alarming to me in my comment section, is a lot of people seem to think that I should be focused more on altcoins. A lot of people seem to think that there is something wrong with the way I approach the markets, right? But I want to point at a few people like Credible Crypto here and Hov. These people probably, with due respect, know an awful lot more than you do, okay? And you can see this here, okay? You're being conditioned to throw your money away. This is not me saying it this time. Remember, I'm very vocal about saying I think people should focus on Bitcoin first, okay? I think you should at least become a good trader and have some experience and have a proper Bitcoin allocation as well as some other assets, all right? I think you should build the core first. Build the foundations on concrete, not on sand. Then you can worry about your altcoin plays, okay? But if you're brand new here, just picking altcoins, you often hear me say this, that this is a really bad idea, and it's way easier to manage the risk using miners that are lightly leveraged, and then you don't have to overexpose. Anyway, but now you're going to hear this from someone other than me, okay? Credible Crypto knows what he's talking about, and so does Hov, okay? You're being conditioned to throw away your money and not even care. People post about hundreds of meme coins daily on crypto Twitter and of course on YouTube, right? They're all over the place. And when one finally pops, that's all people talk about. You see all this all the time. If you just invested 69 cents, you'd have $1 trillion today, right? And of course, this all sounds really nice. It sounds nice that you can take a tiny piece of money and turn it into a fortune. But in reality, their followers maybe by a tenth of what they recommend, and they use, of course, way more money than they can afford to lose, or that they should, and they never even get to catch the one. They just get wrecked every single time. When if you practice sound financial practices, such as accumulating a nice position of Bitcoin first, okay? Make sure you've got your core allocation to other risk assets. Make sure you understand how to balance a portfolio and manage risk. Make sure you understand how to size your trades. Make sure you're not just generating trades using $5 on 1,000x leverage, right? And getting wrecked after the market moves 2 pips against you, okay? Like, understand what you're doing first. This is your financial future. This isn't a game. This is not a game. And I don't mean to sound arrogant, right? But you're against people that take this incredibly seriously. I have lived and breathed this market. So have these guys. And so have all of the top players in the market. Okay, they live and breathe this stuff every single day of the week. I don't do anything else. Neither do people like this. This is the only way you can make it in this game. Okay, is to commit all of your time and effort. If you turn up thinking that you can just throw some money around and you're going to do well, I'm sorry to tell you, okay, you're going to get eaten alive. This is a predator versus prey environment. This is an environment where the only way you profit is if other people lose to you. So please, please, please understand, okay? Let me read this thing from the beginning. You're being conditioned to throw away your money and not even care. And people are posting about hundreds of these meme coins every single day. When one finally pops, that's all people are going to talk about. And you see these tweets, like if you'd just invested 69 cents, you'd have all this money today. But in reality, you're buying hardly any of these meme coins. And when you do, you're using more money than you should. And you never even catch the one, okay? So a few days of calm over the crypto world and the serious players accumulate Bitcoin before its next leg up to 60K. We are literally staring down the barrel of another leg higher, perhaps to all-time highs and beyond, if this parabola does not invalidate. If this current Bitcoin parabola does not invalidate, we're going to be at all-time highs by January. And whilst we're doing this, you better believe that the altcoins are going to kneel to the king. They're going to bow down to the king, which is, of course, Bitcoin. And all the while, your crypto Twitterers are busy buying the next bonk coin. Okay? Like, to be clear, if you've made money from bonk or whatever, I don't even know what bonk is, but if you've made money from these next, meme coins, well done. Okay? And if you're an expert, well done. Okay? Don't listen to a single word. I've said, if you have over 10,000 hours in markets and over 10,000 hours of study, then you crack on and do you. Okay? But I'm just trying to say, there's a lot of people out here that are going to lead you into the dark, and they're going to do so with a blind lead in the blind. Just please, please, please understand, this is not a game. This is business, okay? This is real life. And so with this as the context, take a look at this chart, okay? I posted this back at Bitcoin Dominance. If you've been here before on this channel, you will have seen me do this a bunch of times. Now, Bitcoin Dominance, is this possible? Look what we've got. A bottom formation, a range, breakout, retest, resumption, possibly looking to do this whilst Bitcoin, like I said, whilst alts kneel to the king in this neighborhood, only for then liquidity to exit Bitcoin and we to finally get a true alt season later on in life. Well, even when we got to here, I can remember people reaching out to me and saying, "You're wrong, Camel. What comes next is this." And I said, look, you just don't know what you're talking about. Because if this is a stock, right, we've got a huge range, a huge base, a range break, breakout, retest, resumption. You do not then go on to say, I know what happens here, right? Breakout. What happens here is this. That doesn't make any sense, particularly after we get the retest and resumption. You don't say, oh, I know what comes next, this. Okay? That doesn't even make sense. The whole way up, people have been saying over and over again, it's about to be alt season. It's about to be alt season. The reality is, the majority of the gains are going to Bitcoin. Yes, there will be a handful of alts that outperform Bitcoin. There always is. But the majority are going to bow down to the king up until we get into this neighborhood. Once we're in this neighborhood, once we get a true technical breakdown, then we can talk about alt season. For now, at least, let's take a look at this chart updated to today. You can see slight deviation away, right? It's not following it, but it was never going to follow it perfectly. If you want to see an alt season, you need to at least see this upper sloping red support line break down. Okay, you need to at least see that, because otherwise what we've got is higher highs and higher lows, okay? And we're going to continue to make higher highs and higher lows, particularly if Bitcoin is about to break out to 60K, like Credible Crypto thinks it might, right? Like these OGs that have been in the space think it might. Then this is going to creep up here. And as we do that, it's going to be better to build your base in Bitcoin and then think about altcoins later on. Keep in mind, this exit from Bitcoin to altcoins, I get a lot of people asking me about this. This is for experts only. Okay, if you've just shown up to market, if you haven't even been here for a full 4-year cycle, then this play is much easier said than done. It sounds really easy, okay? But I can tell you it's not. I do this for a living, and I can tell you it's not easy, okay? So I'm not trying to ruin anyone's dreams. I'm not trying to pee on anyone's campfire here. But I am trying to say that I get an awful lot of people tell me, can you please cover this altcoin? Can you please focus more on altcoins? No, I can't, because I'm a professional. I am a professional and we don't do that here, okay? There will come a time when some more speculation can unfold. But for now, you at least need to see this breakdown before you can even have the right to message me that it's about to be alt season, okay? Until that happens, then you have no rhyme or reason to message me and tell me alt season is coming and is just around the corner. So with all that said, with my rant over, please, please, please understand, this is not a game. This is business. This is for serious individuals. And if you're not serious, okay, if you don't treat this like a business, then you're just going to end up losing your money to people like me who live and breathe this and take this as seriously as I possibly could. Moving into the stock market, okay, we're about in that neighborhood where we should see a pullback to a daily cycle low any day now. Once we get that pullback into that daily cycle low, which remember is due around the 21st of December, it sets us up for a melt up rally into new all-time highs. But we likely do first have to find that daily cycle low as we are so late in this cycle. The same is true of the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones. As I said, we may well get the Dow Jones move in tandem with these other two markets, but most probably this is going to complete its measured move and I'm going to take the profit up here. The VIX is moving down towards about to be sub 12, right? We could probably see sub 12 by the end of this year. I would think we might even get as low as 10 by the end of this year. Again, all of this is not conducive to a risk off moment. However, perhaps we do have to have a counter trend bounce whilst we find that daily cycle low for the S&P 500. We can see breadth continue to widen. Look at this, okay? It's starting to rocket up for the Russell 2K. So I expect to see this to continue as well. So far, my intuition was right about gold, right? We haven't seen a true breakout, sitting here ready to pull the trigger if need be. But for now, gold seems to know something, right? Gold seems to know inflation's coming down, that the money is going to rightfully be returned to risk and to crypto first, and then perhaps we can rotate out of the risk into gold at a later date. Silver again, right? Look at this. Lower high so far. Okay, false breakout, big rejection. That was quite a big rejection for silver. This is, 12, 13%. And so far a lower high. So if it breaks out, we can entertain it. But for now, work to do. Same for the miners and even the junior miners. Okay, look at this. Still can't quite break out, right? That's a double rejection at resistance if you ask me. So for now at least, tells us to keep an open mind about seeing risk come on, and the metals is not quite their time to shine just yet. But of course, I do believe it is going to be soon enough, perhaps Q1, Q2 of next year. Here's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin still working on this cycle low. There's always a chance we're going to roll over and undercut it one more time, but I think this low probably holds, and I think we start to get very, very, very bullish. Once we can get a push off of here, I'll move the stops up from the first two positions underneath the third, and we'll go from there. I am kind of hoping we get a rollover here, and the reason being is I'd like to add some more exposure to these crypto-related equities. So if we can get a bit more of a pullback here, some kind of swing and a reversal, then that might be a nice opportunity. But there's a good chance this is going to continue to push for a little while. So we'll continue to take these one day at a time. Same for Riot, same for Marathon, right? I mean, look at this. It's getting pretty explosive now. And all of this, to me, kind of speaks to the fact that we are possibly setting our second angle of attack, right? And if you've been here before, then you will have seen this chart, right? Like I was saying a bit earlier on in today's episode, we may well be about to continue to set this parabola, right? Which would mean we've set our first angle of attack. It would also mean that, assuming we have found our cycle low and we're not about to undercut it, we found our second angle of attack. And what does that mean? It means that the third one is coming sooner rather than later. Whether it comes from here up or whether it starts slightly higher up, perhaps it maybe starts from, here up. But at some point, we're going to set that third angle. And that third angle becomes the exit for me from the market. So like I was saying, all these people that are talking about altcoins, you're missing the trees for the forest. You can't see the trees for the woods, or I don't know what the expression is. I think I butchered that one. But you get the point, right? You get the point. Alts are about to kneel to the king. And the only way we can say that that's not true is we really need to see Bitcoin break down here, okay? Something like this, base building, or something like this, and then breakdown of there as well, back here. Then we can say, okay, we're not in the parabola. But if we continue to hold this red upward sloping support line, and that's what the cycles say we're going to do, then, it's time to start paying attention. We've also got a dollar in a downtrend, haven't we? We've got a dollar in a downtrend, and this is being catalyzed by the euro dollar in an uptrend. So kind of makes sense that risk is going to continue to come on. Do we get a little bit of a counter trend bounce here, perhaps back to the resistance line whilst we find the cycle lows for the stock market? Yeah, that would make perfect sense. That's normally what we see. But for now, this, again, until it breaks out this downward sloping red resistance line, speaks to us heading down towards that 3-year cycle low. It speaks to risk coming on into the end of the year. And look at the 10-year yields. Okay, look at that. Okay, do I even need to say anything else? Look at this. We are going to see this blow off top moment in the stock market. All we need to do is find those cycle lows, and then it is go time, isn't it? So overall, it seems that we are still going to continue to work on this blow off top moment, right? That definitely seems to be the case. It also seems to be the case that we first need to find that cycle low, and then we can start to do this. But if indeed we are staring down the barrel of this final blow off top portion, then it really is time to start expecting things to go into berserk mode. It is time to start expecting FOMO to be order of the day. It is time to start expecting soft landing narratives to proliferate. And it is possibly time to start expecting Bitcoin to go and do Bitcoin things once more. People are so quick. People are so quick to say, yeah, right, this can never happen. But if you just take a look at the charts, right, it's already baked in. Like I said, we got our first angle of attack in red. If I take this off a log, reset this, the first angle's there. And like I said, if we find this cycle low, then the second angle is going to be there as well, right? And that means this cycle low is going to form way higher up. And this is the path of most pain because most people don't have their allocation, okay? Retail hasn't even arrived yet either. Keep that in mind. If you go and speak to a normie out in the wild, right, they don't even know. They don't even know. So keep that in mind. One day at a time as always. No predictions, strong opinions, weakly held, willing to be proven wrong by the market. I hope you found value here today. I'm about to record a members video, so look out for that for the members. For everyone else, I hope you're doing well in life. I hope you have a great weekend. It has been a fantastic year. And unfortunately, if I am right about what comes next year is going to be a lot tougher to navigate, right as everyone has switched from being full bore bearish to full bore bullish. I'm your boy Camel. Remember, the only thing I know is that I don't know. One day at a time as always. And until next time, all the best. Cheers. Bye.